Most people think class in America is about how much money you make each month. They look at a paycheck, a car, or a house and assume that tells the full story. But here's the truth: your income doesn't define your class. Your net worth does. Net worth measures the real value of your assets minus your debts. It's the only number that shows whether you're building true financial security or just living a comfortable illusion. Today, we're going to break down the numbers, what it really takes to be in America's lower, middle, and upper class, and why understanding this is the first step toward taking control of your financial future. Most people make the mistake of equating income with class. They see someone earning 6 figures a year and immediately assume they're upper class. They see someone earning 50 zeros and automatically think middle class. But here's the hard truth: income is just part of the story. Class in America isn't determined by what you earn each month. It's determined by net worth, the total value of your assets minus your liabilities. That's the number that truly tells you how financially secure you are and where you sit in the economic ladder. Let's break it down. Income is fleeting. You can earn a high salary and still have zero wealth if you spend it all or carry heavy debt. Conversely, someone with a modest income can be well off if they invest wisely, pay off debts, and accumulate assets over time. Net worth is about what you own that actually works for you. Savings, investments, property, and other valuable assets, minus what you owe. It's the only number that reflects long-term financial power, stability, and freedom. Consider the average millionaire. Many people assume a millionaire must earn 500 zeros a year or more. In reality, a person with a moderate income who spends wisely, invests consistently, and leverages compound interest can reach $1 million net worth over time. They may live a relatively modest lifestyle, but their assets give them financial freedom and security. That's the difference between appearing rich and actually being wealthy. Understanding this distinction is crucial because most people are measuring their success incorrectly. They chase a higher paycheck, thinking it will elevate them into a new class while neglecting their debt, savings, and investments. The result? They earn more, but they don't get richer. In fact, many high earners are just one unexpected expense, one job loss, or one economic downturn away from financial stress, because income alone doesn't create lasting wealth. Class isn't about what you flaunt, it's about what you own and what works for you. A high-end car or a big house doesn't automatically make you middle or upper class if it's financed and leaves you with little net worth. On the other hand, someone with multiple investments, paid off assets, and low liabilities can enjoy true financial independence, even if their monthly paycheck isn't extraordinary. This is why net worth is the ultimate measure of class in America. The numbers themselves tell a story. While thresholds vary depending on who you ask, generally speaking, the lower class includes individuals with little to no net worth, sometimes even negative, if debt outweighs assets. 8. The middle class typically has moderate assets and investments, but may still be vulnerable to economic shocks. The upper class, however, is defined by substantial net worth, diversified investments, and financial independence, the ability to live comfortably without worrying about income or emergencies. When you shift your perspective from income to net worth, everything changes. You stop chasing the illusion of wealth that comes from a big paycheck and start focusing on building real, lasting financial power. You start asking the right questions. How much am I saving? How much is invested? What debts do I need to eliminate? What assets can I acquire to create security and growth? This approach doesn't just tell you your class, it gives you a roadmap to move up it. At the end of the day, defining your class by net worth instead of income is about taking control of your financial destiny. It's about measuring what truly matters: the assets you own, the debts you owe, and the freedom that comes from building wealth that works for you. Stop looking at income alone. It's a snapshot, not the whole picture. Net worth is the map, the guide, and the true measure of financial status in America. When people hear lower class, they often think about low income. But in reality, it's not just about how much money you earn, it's about net worth, and this is where the struggle becomes clear. Millions of Americans, including retirees and young adults, live paycheck to paycheck with little to no savings and, in many cases, negative net worth. Debt, minimal investments, and rising living costs keep them trapped in a cycle that's hard to break. Let's start with retirees. Many worked hard their whole lives, contributing to Social Security, pensions, or retirement accounts, only to find themselves with minimal net worth at retirement. Why? A combination of rising healthcare costs, insufficient savings, and sometimes poor financial planning. They may have a decent monthly income from Social Security, but their total assets are so low that any unexpected expense, like medical bills or home repairs, can wipe out their savings. In other words, income alone cannot protect you from financial vulnerability. Without net worth, even a comfortable paycheck can feel fragile. Young adults face a similar trap, just at an earlier stage. Student loans, car payments, credit card debt, and the high cost of living create a barrier to building wealth. Many are earning decent incomes for their age, yet their net worth remains low or negative because liabilities outweigh assets. They may have no emergency fund. 8, no investments and minimal savings. This makes it extremely difficult to move into the middle class, regardless of how much they earn. The reality is harsh. If you start adult life burdened by debt and without a strategy for building assets, it can take decades to catch up. Debt is a major factor defining the lower class. Student loans, credit cards, and mortgages can feel like tools for growth, but when mismanaged, they become anchors instead of building wealth. Many Americans are trapped in a cycle where every paycheck goes to servicing debt rather than accumulating assets. The result: minimal net worth, limited financial freedom, and a constant struggle to stay afloat. This is why net worth, not income, is the defining measure. You could earn $70,000 a year and still be in the lower class if your liabilities are higher than your assets. Another overlooked point is the illusion of stability. Many people in the lower class appear to get by because they cover monthly expenses, rent, and bills. But this stability is fragile. A medical emergency, car repair, or job loss can instantly push them into crisis because they have no financial cushion. Net worth is what provides resilience, the buffer that allows you to navigate life's unpredictable challenges. Without it, even small disruptions can have massive consequences. Education about financial literacy is another gap. Many lower-class Americans were never taught how to build wealth, invest, or leverage assets. They know how to earn money, but not how to make money work for them. This lack of knowledge keeps them trapped in a cycle of minimal net worth, despite sometimes having decent income levels. Understanding assets, liabilities, and how to grow net worth is the bridge from struggle to security. The key takeaway is simple but critical. Being in the lower class isn't just about earning less, it's about owning less. True financial freedom comes from building assets, paying down liabilities, and creating a net worth that protects you from life's uncertainties. Recognizing where you are is the first step. From there, deliberate action, saving, investing, and reducing debt becomes the roadmap to climb the financial ladder. At the end of the day, the lower class is defined by vulnerability, not laziness. Millions are trapped through circumstance, debt, and lack of knowledge. But understanding that net worth, not just income, defines your class gives you the insight needed to break the cycle. Awareness plus action is the only path forward. Whether you're a young adult starting your journey or a retiree hoping to secure your final chapter. The middle class is often described as comfortable or financially stable, and for many, that's exactly how it feels. They have a nice house, a reliable car, a steady paycheck, and maybe even a little left over for vacations or leisure. On the surface, life looks good, but here's the truth that most Americans fail to recognize. Appearances can be deceiving. Middle-class status can be fragile, and for many, it's more an illusion of comfort than true financial security. Let's start with net worth. 8. Middle-class Americans typically have moderate assets, perhaps a home, some retirement savings, and small investments. But in many cases, these assets are heavily leveraged. The mortgage is large, retirement accounts are far from sufficient, and savings are minimal. This means that while income appears comfortable, net worth may be relatively low, leaving them vulnerable to financial shocks. A job loss, medical emergency, or market downturn can quickly wipe out the sense of security they've built, revealing just how precarious their position really is. Consider the home. Often viewed as the ultimate middle-class asset, many middle-class Americans have a mortgage on a house they assume will make them wealthier over time. But if the equity is small or the home is heavily financed, it may not contribute meaningfully to net worth. A house is only an asset if it builds wealth, not if it's just a place to live while draining monthly cash flow. In many cases, middle-class families are house rich but cash poor, meaning their apparent comfort masks a deeper vulnerability. Debt is another hidden trap. Car loans, credit cards, student loans, and other forms of personal debt can silently erode net worth. Even with a decent income, middle-class Americans often find themselves paying more in interest than they realize. The result is that financial stability depends entirely on maintaining a paycheck. 8. Lows that income and the illusion of comfort disappears almost immediately. The middle class often walks a fine line between security and crisis, and they may not even realize it until it's too late. Then there's the issue of retirement preparedness. Many middle-class Americans contribute to retirement accounts, but contributions are often minimal, and investments may not grow enough to secure true financial independence. Social security may supplement income, but for many, it's barely enough to maintain lifestyle in later years. The middle-class illusion of comfort can hide a harsh reality. Without additional assets, savings, and strategic planning, retirement could be financially stressful, not liberating. Lifestyle inflation also plays a role. Middle-class families may feel the need to maintain certain appearances, nice cars, vacations, or luxury purchases, without fully considering the long-term impact on net worth. Monthly income can cover expenses, but spending beyond means prevents wealth accumulation. The illusion of comfort is reinforced by consumption, not actual financial security. Middle-class Americans often measure their success by lifestyle, not by assets, which can be misleading. The key takeaway is that middle-class status is fragile. It's not guaranteed by a steady paycheck or a well-kept house. It's built on a foundation of net worth, savings, and financial resilience. True comfort comes not from appearances, but from assets that generate wealth, minimal liabilities, and the ability to absorb life's unexpected shocks. Understanding this distinction is critical. Without it, many middle-class Americans can live decades thinking they're secure, only to face a reality check when emergencies or retirement arrive. At the end of the day, the middle class isn't just about how life looks, it's about how life works. Appearances can be deceiving. Financial stability is only real when net worth, investments, and savings back it up. Recognizing this gap between perception and reality is the first step towards strengthening your financial position, building true security, and turning the illusion of comfort into a foundation for long-term wealth. When most people think of the upper class, images of mansions, luxury cars, and private jets come to mind. But the reality is far deeper and far more strategic than flashy displays of wealth. The upper class isn't defined by income alone. In fact, high income doesn't automatically create wealth. What truly separates the upper class from the middle and lower classes is net worth, financial independence, and the ability to leverage assets to create more wealth over time. Understanding these factors is critical if you want to climb the financial ladder. The first distinction is financial independence. Upper-class individuals don't rely solely on a paycheck. Their assets, investments, real estate, businesses, and other income-producing holdings generate consistent cash flow. This allows them to live comfortably without worrying about job loss or monthly income. Whereas the middle class may feel secure because of a salary, the upper class achieves security through self-sustaining wealth. It's a shift from working for money to having money work for you. Next, diversification sets the upper class apart. Wealthy individuals don't keep all their eggs in one basket. They invest across multiple asset classes: stocks, bonds, real estate, private equity, and sometimes even alternative investments. This strategy reduces risk, maximizes growth potential, and allows them to withstand market fluctuations that might devastate someone with fewer assets. The middle class may have some investments, but often they are limited to a 401k or a home, leaving them vulnerable. Diversification is a hallmark of upper class financial strategy. It's how wealth grows and compounds over time. Another key factor is leverage. The upper class knows how to use debt strategically. They borrow not to consume, but to invest, to acquire assets that appreciate, generate income, or provide tax advantages. For example, leveraging real estate or business investments allows them to build net worth faster than simply saving money in a bank account. This is a subtle but powerful distinction. The upper class uses debt as a tool, while lower and middle class households often see it as a burden. Generational wealth also plays a role. Upper class families understand the power of passing assets, investments, and financial knowledge down through generations. They plan for long-term growth, not just immediate comfort. This isn't about inheritance alone, it's about mindset, discipline, and systems that ensure wealth continues to compound and expand over time. Many middle-class families lack this long-term approach, which is why their net worth often plateaus despite consistent income. Education and financial literacy are equally crucial. The upper class invests time and resources into understanding money, taxes, investment strategies, and economic trends. They make informed decisions rather than relying on luck or reactive choices. Knowledge becomes a multiplier. It allows them to identify opportunities, mitigate risks, and make their money work harder. The difference isn't luck, it's informed, deliberate action over years or decades. Finally, the upper class thinks in terms of assets, not just consumption. While many aspire to a high-income lifestyle filled with luxury goods, the upper class focuses on acquiring assets that grow over time. Cars, clothes, or vacations may be part of life, but they don't define wealth. Wealth is defined by what continues to generate value long after the initial purchase. This mindset, prioritizing long-term growth over short-term gratification, is what separates true financial power from temporary comfort. The takeaway is clear. Elate. The upper class isn't just about how much you earn, it's about how much you own, how wisely you invest, and how effectively you leverage assets for growth and independence. Understanding these principles provides a roadmap for moving up the financial ladder. It shows that climbing from middle or lower class isn't impossible, but it requires discipline, strategy, and a shift in mindset from consumption to wealth creation. At the end of the day, the upper class is defined by freedom, security, and the ability to grow wealth consistently. They aren't slaves to a paycheck or vulnerable to unexpected expenses. They have systems, assets, and knowledge in place that make their money work for them. 8. If you want to move beyond the lower and middle class, understanding these principles and adopting them in your own financial life is the first step toward creating true, lasting wealth.